Thank you for joining us today. We are pleased to present to you the 4th live Sentinel Hub webinar with a focus on commercial data in Sentinel Hub and how to actually get the data and use it. Sentinel Hub is a cloud API for satellite imagery operated by Synergize with headquarters in Ljubljana, Slovenia. Today's presentation will be given by my colleague Munia Shebila. Afterwards, the questions and answer section will follow, so let's give a word to Munia.
Hello everyone, let's start with the agenda. Today we are going to be using Request Builder to order commercial data. We are going to take a look at how you can organize your collections. We will of course also be visualizing our data in your browser and create custom configurations and layers. We will do all of this on two different use cases. One is going to be an area in Italy, and the other one is going to be an agricultural parcel in South Turkey, where we're going to take a look at how to generate yearly time series data, visualize it, and create statistics. Then we are also going to take a look at how you can use Sentinel Hub API to integrate commercial data into your own GIS, and specifically we will be looking at QGIS. The last point is going to be how you can apply for the network of resources, which makes it possible for you to get commercial data sponsored, so you do not have to purchase it yourself. So commercial data is data that is not free, such as, for example, the Copernicus data, so the users have to purchase it from the providers. The Sentinel Hub supports two different commercial imagery providers. These are Planet and Airbus. For Planet, we support the PlanetScope imagery, and for Airbus, Pleiades and Spot imagery. As you may know, this imagery is of very high resolution. The Pleiades imagery comes to 0.5 meter resolution. So as you can see on these images, you can see specific cars, buildings, and such. So if you believe that you would benefit from such high resolution data, or if you would just like to experiment with it a little bit, then this webinar is for you. First, I'm going to jump to our custom script repository, where we have some PlanetScope and Airbus Pleiades scripts. And we're going to take a look at which bands you have available. So for PlanetScope, you have 4 bands available: blue, green, red, and near infrared. They all come in resolution of 3 meters. Down here, you have some custom scripts that you can take a look and also copy-paste by expanding this panel and then use in your request. This is how PlanetScope imagery looks like. We also have Airbus Pleiades scripts over here. Over here we have, for Pleiades, we have 5 different bands. We have the blue band, green, red, and near infrared, such as for PlanetScope, but they are in 2 meter resolution. And we also have a panchromatic band, which goes to 0.5 meter resolution. For spot data, the bands are similar. The difference is they have a bit different wavelengths, and the resolution for spot is 6 meter for these bands: green, red, blue, red, green, and near infrared. And the panchromatic band for spot has 1.5 meter resolution. So you can use the panchromatic band to pan sharpen images. As you can see over here, this is an image that is then much sharper for Pleiades. Another thing that I would like to talk about very quickly with the scripts is that if you take a look at the custom script, you can see that it is divided by 3000. Now this is because we get imagery from the providers in unsigned integer 16 from 0 to 10,000. And unless you use a version 3 custom script and specify a sample type, the script is going to expect your values to be in range of from 0 to 1. So this is why we divide. We usually divide by 4,000 or 3,000 or something like that to bring it to that expected range of 0 to 1. And the higher the number that you divide by, the darker your image is going to be. So this is all I'm going to talk about custom scripts. This is a specific of commercial data. If you are interested in custom scripts, how to create them, take a look at our custom scripts webinar. Next, let's take a look at where you can find the documentation on commercial data. This is our technical documentation, docs.sentinelhub.com. Under data, over here you have documentation for all the data sets, and here you can see PlanetScope, Pleiades, and Spot. So if we click on one of them, you can see here in the sidebar you have the information about the basic information such as the availability, coverage. Then you have all the band information, units, and all that. We are planning to add more providers and data sources, and we will keep you updated on that. The third-party data import documentation is found over here. Here you have all the general explanations of the process, and also the examples and all the requests, such as, for example, here, if I click on demo order, you can work with that in Postman or in any other way, but today we're going to be working with Requests Builder. The next important part of documentation that we have for you is on our education page. This is on, if you go to the Sentinel Hub website, Explore Education, and you scroll down to third-party data import, you are going to find the PDF tutorial over here. This PDF tutorial goes step by step into explaining how to work with commercial data in Requests Builder and Postman. We are not going to be taking a look at Postman today, but if you would like to know more, take a look at this PDF tutorial. Now, how can you get commercial data? So first you have to have a Sentinel Hub account. If you don't have one yet, you can get a free trial account. And then in your dashboard, you go to billing. And if you scroll a bit down, you're going to see the 3 packages for PlanetScope, Airbus Pleiades, and Airbus Spot. Note that discounts are available for large orders, and that you can get commercial data sponsored if you are conducting research or doing pre-commercial exploitation by submitting your proposal to the network of resources. We're going to take a look at this at the end of the webinar. So all you need to do is purchase one of the packages, and then for PlanetScope, when you do that, we are going to send you an email with a Planet API key that is going to be a string of numbers and letters that you are going to have to paste into your requests. It's nothing complicated, you will see later. But for Airbus, Pleiades, and Spot, no API key is required. So you can just start working when you purchase the package. Okay, so now let's jump right into making our first request. I'm going to go to Request Builder. So Request Builder, if you don't know, is a simple tool that is used to help you build and send process API requests and other API requests, so that you don't have to deal with the less intuitive formats such as curl. You have to be logged in to work with third-party data import. So after you select the third-party data import, you're going to see this area of time range, quota, and the area of interest. So this is the first part that we're going to do. We're going to select our area and time range. Then the next part that we're going to do is search for data. And lastly, we're going to prepare and confirm our order. Next thing that we need to talk about are quotas. So when you purchase a package of, let's say, a Pleiades data, you get a certain amount of squared kilometers to be used. So this is your quota. Quota is just the amount of square kilometers you have to use. And if you run out of those, you won't be able to make requests anymore, and you will have to purchase additional quota. So over here, I have clicked on Show Quota, and you can see here that for each of the constellations, Pleiades, Spot, and PlanetScope, it says what is my total quota that I had, how much I used, and how much I have remaining. So under here in PlanetScope, you can see that my total was 39 squared kilometers. I have used a little bit, and I have remaining 38 and some squared kilometers. So this is a very useful information for you. And as this is a request builder, each of the panels that is sending the requests also has the request preview panel on the right. You can see here the request that sends the get quota. And down here, you can also see the response. So it is basically the same information in a different format. We're going to be working on an area in Italy. I'm going to simply draw the bounding box, just like that. And immediately up here, I can see that the 22.78 square kilometers area was selected. So if I was to run this request, it would probably use this much quota. We will talk about all of this when we continue. We also need to think about the time range. I'm going to select the starting time range to be January 1st, 2017. This is because I will be working with zero cloud coverage, and I would really like to get enough completely cloudless images to choose from. When we scroll down, we see some search options. Over here, we can select the constellation. We are now going to select Pleiades. Just before we continue, I would just like to say that you can do this whole process of ordering data and then visualizing it in your browser in about 5 minutes, plus the time it takes for data to be ingested. But right now we are going very in detail so that I can explain everything to you. But it can be very fast when you're going to be doing this a second time. So we have Airbus Pleiades selected. We will toggle on the advanced options button, and we will draw the cloud coverage to 0. We also have some other options here that you can leave it at default. But anyways, let me explain. The processing level, we have default sensor and album. The sensor means that it is the archive where data was already processed, so it can be delivered to you quickly. And the album is the archive where data wasn't processed yet, and it can take a longer time to be delivered to you, but the archive is larger. And if you select default, you get both of those. The snow coverage is self-explanatory, and the incidence angle, the larger it is, the more results you're going to get, but the lower the quality is going to be. I am going to click search for data now. And here you can see some products. So the first thing that you need to understand is that these are called data products, and each of them has its own ID over here. It's called a product ID. This will become very important when we add these products to our order. If we click on this map icon up here on the right, it is going to display on the map. And as you can see, the data product area is shown in green and our bounding box in blue, and it covers it. It is much larger. Now you don't have to worry about it being too large because the products are clipped to your geometry. So only what you actually selected in your geometry is going to be used. It is also possible that the product does not cover your geometry fully. This is why you can expand the data. Let's choose this 26 July. And you can check the product geometry coverage if it is 100%. You have a lot of other information here as well, such as cloud coverage and so on. Over here you have a thumbnail. You can expand it, and it is going to show you how the product actually looks like. This is the whole product. Our bounding box would be somewhere here in the middle. And if you are happy with it, you can then add it to order. This means clicking on this add to order button. So it says that it was added to orders, and this means that if we scroll a bit down and check our order options, we can see added products by ID down here, and we can see this ID added. The next thing important for search results is that over here you also have a request. You can check the response, and then here you have all the information in the request preview that you have over here in the user interface. Now let's take a look at the order options. So first let's choose a name. Let's call it my order. Then we have order types. We have order product IDs. This is the system that we just used. It means that we will be adding our products manually by clicking on add to order to our order. If we were to use order using query, we wouldn't have to even search for data. We would just select a time range, and then all the products in that time range would be added automatically. We're going to use this later on another example when we work with time series data. Now the next important thing is collection ID. Over here you have several choices. You can create a new collection. You can enter the collection ID yourself, or you can choose a collection from your dashboard. So let's jump quickly into our dashboard. Go to bring your own cog. And over here, you can see I have two collections. When you open this panel the first time, when you haven't been working with collections before, it is going to be empty. So this ID is called the collection ID. So if we copy it and then go back to our request, we could then paste it in here. But it is easier to simply select it from the drop-down menu. As we're working with Pleiades, I will select Pleiades. If you leave this empty or leave it at create a new collection will be created and your tiles products will be ingested into the new collection. We will talk a bit more how you can control these collections a bit later. Over here you have order size. So order size is an approximation given to you how much quota your order is going to use. Right now, it should be identical to our bounding box because we have only one product selected. But for example, if we were to select another product, let's say that we want also a winter image added, we could click on add to order, and then two of the product IDs would be added and our order size would double because we have ordered two products, both covering our area. If one of the products wouldn't cover our full geometry, then this number would be a bit smaller. It would be calculated based on that. An important thing to note here is that in Request Builder, this is a specific limitation of Request Builder. You can only make one order per bounding box. So if I were to redraw a bounding box somewhere else and then search for data and add another product, these two would be then removed. But if you work with the API directly in Postman or something like this, it will support multi-polygons. So if I remove this second product down here now, my order size is going to jump back to my bounding box area. Now it is quite easy to get a very large order if you just are adding products to it. So this is why this order limit is very useful. This is your own personal safeguard that you set for yourself to avoid making orders too large. If I have 10 over here and my order size is 22 and more square kilometers, I am not going to be able to click the prepare order button. I have to increase this to, let's say, 25, and now I will be able to do so. When I click on prepare order button, the order is not going to yet go through and the quota will not yet be subtracted. You will be then able to see the final calculation for your quota, and you will then have to click confirm order in order to actually proceed. So let's click on prepare order and let's see what happens. So as you can see, we have three different panels here: created orders not confirmed, running orders, and finished orders. When I clicked on prepare order, the order was created under created orders because it is not yet confirmed. The status says created, which means that it was created but not yet confirmed. You can see the final quota calculation under size down here. So we can see the collection ID over here because we chose the collection ID. If you were to choose another one, you wouldn't see that. Because it takes some 15 minutes to a couple of hours to actually ingest data, we did not want to keep you waiting and have ingested this data in advance. When I would click confirm order, the order would move down to running orders because it would be in process. I am now going to show you this by doing this on a very small order that I have over here. It's a little island in Belize. I have everything ready, so I can now prepare the order. As you can see, it is 1.9 square kilometers, and I will now click confirm order. It asks me if I am sure to confirm the order. I will say yes. And the order now moved from the created orders to running orders. The status changed to running. When you do this, if you have created a new collection, this is when you would actually see your correct collection ID and the collection would appear in your dashboard. But at this stage, tiles are not yet ingested. You can check the Get Deliveries button to see what is happening with your tiles. We have only one product tile, and it says that it is waiting. So it is going to take a bit of a time to actually get ingested. And when all the products are ingested into the collection ID, then the order is going to move from running orders to finished orders. And then the status is going to change from running to done. This is another button that we have over here, refresh your orders. And if I do that, I can see all my orders over here. So this order was not confirmed because it was already ingested. We could now delete it if we wanted to. Then we have a running Belize order that we just run over here. And down here, I have a couple of finished orders as well. As you can see, the status is done. If I click on Get Deliveries, they are done. And what I could do now is update the user interface to match this order. And these finished orders would then be as your storage of orders that you can revisit, change a little bit, and maybe send it again, or add another date to your collection, and so on. Now let's go to dashboard and let's check our ingested product. I will open the Pleiades data collection over here, and you can see the ingested product over here. The collection tile, we can see the ingestion date here. If we click on it, we can then also see the geometry down here. So this might be useful to you. And it is advisable that you have one collection for each constellation, one collection for Pleiades, one collection for PlanetScope, and one for Spot. And then each time you order products for, let's say, Pleiades, you add them to this collection. So this collection would then include all the products that you have ordered around the world in different bounding boxes and polygons. Now, of course, you can order collections in any other way that you would like. You can rename collections here, you can delete them, you can create new collections and then choose them from the request builder. And if you by accident selected to have a new collection created, but you actually want your tiles to be in another collection, this is no problem, because you can always send the tiles to another collection by clicking on this copy the tiles to another collection. This way you can have full control over your collections. Now we want to visualize what we have ingested. And to do so, we are going to have to create a new configuration. For this, we go to Configuration Utility. We're going to click on New Configuration, and we will name it Pleiades. And for your convenience, we have prepared some templates to make it easier. We're going to select Airbus Pleiades template and click Create Configuration. As you can see, 5 layers are already created: true color, false color, true color, punch sharpened, NDVI, and the normalized difference wetness index. If we expand it, we can see that an obviously wrong number is over here. We have to replace it with our collection ID for each of these layers. We also see that the custom script is already inserted that is going to visualize true color for Pleiades. Let's quickly jump back to our collections and let's copy our collection ID. And then let's replace all of these IDs. Don't forget to save the layer each time. This is very quick, just takes a couple of seconds. Now, if you wanted to add another layer with a custom script, so something else, this is very easy to do. Let's jump to our custom script repository, go to Airbus Pleiades, and let's take a look at this pan sharpened green city script. It shows the vegetated areas in green and everything else in grayscale. Let's grab the script. Actually, what we have to do first is we have to grab the collection ID. Then we have to create a new layer. Let's name it Green City. Let's select Bring Your Own Cog and then paste it in. Then now we can actually copy in the script. Set custom script, save, and our layer is prepared. It's very easy. You can add as many as you like, and each of them can also have its own collection ID. So it is not a must that this configuration needs to, all of them have to have the same collection ID. And now we are ready to visualize it. Let's go to EO browser. I have already zoomed to the area where our tile should appear. We have to refresh it because we have just added a new configuration so that it will recognize the change. You have to be logged in. And if you click on this theme over here, you will get a drop-down menu and you can see based on Pleiades. If you click that, this is going to make all of the products available to you in that configuration. So what we need to do now is select the correct time range. So this time range needs to encompass your actual ingestion date. The ingestion date is actually the 26th of July of 2019. But if we say January 1st, it is going to cover that. So that's fine. Let's click search. And here we can see our tile. We can click visualize. I will turn off the labels. And here you can see the true color visualization of our tile. We also have a false color one showing vegetation in red because it is a near infrared there in the red channel. We have the NDVI visualization, color visualization made with color blend, with the green areas having high vegetation or dense vegetation and red having low vegetation. We also have a wetness index. You can see the river over here very quickly in blue. We have a green city script. And of course, we have a pan sharpened true color. And let's zoom in here a little bit. And now let's check how very detailed this actually is. Okay. Now that we have done this, we can jump to the next section. The next section is going to be creating a time series for the agricultural parcel in Turkey. I am now in a new window of requests builder in third-party data. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to upload the KML GeoJSON file from my desktop. And as you can see, the polygon is immediately drawn. If I zoom out a little, you can see that this is in South Turkey. Now we want to order a time series for a full year of data. We are going to do December 1st, 2019 to December 1st, 2020. And now we don't have to search for data, but we do have to select PlanetScope because we will be working with PlanetScope here. And right now you can see that Planet key is requested. So this is where you would just pop in that string of numbers and letters that you get over the email. I have it already saved, so I will just select it. And now the important thing is this is going to grab all the products within this time range automatically up to a certain number. And you don't want to order a bunch of tiles that are completely covered with clouds because this is going to be expensive for your quota. So let's drag this down to 0%. It can also happen that too many products are found and then you have to lower your time range because it has an upper limit. But lowering cloud coverage also helps with that. Let's name our order Agricultural Turkey. And now instead of product IDs, we're going to select order using query. For the collection ID, we are going to select PlanetScope data because we are ordering PlanetScope data and we want to have all of our products that are PlanetScope in our PlanetScope collection. You can see that we do not see order size right now because this calculation is not possible at this stage. You have to prepare the order to actually see the quota that would be used. The order limit is also over here, doesn't affect it really because at this stage the calculation of the quota is not done. I am just going to click prepare order now. The order is prepared. And right now we can see that this order would take 110 square kilometers plus. So this would be a very large order. You can then decide whether you want to confirm it or not. We have already ingested this data. This would take a while. When you click on prepare order, you can select create with data filter over here and you can check the response. And here you can see all of the products that would be ingested. You can see there is a lot of them over here. You can always help yourself with these requests that you can check out. So in the configuration utility, we already have the configuration set. Let's check our tiles first. PlanetScope data. As you can see, there are a lot of products ingested. We can click next a couple of times. In fact, there were 250 tiles ingested into this collection. In the configuration utility, the configuration is already prepared. Also, the collection ID is already inserted, so we can jump right to EO browser to visualize it. So I have another EO browser window open here, zoomed to the area of this agricultural parcel. Again, I have to refresh it. Click on PlanetScope. And then we have to make sure that we cover all the dates that for all the data that we have. And as you can see, it returns a lot of products, and we can even load more. When we visualize it, we can see the true color visualization. There is also a false color one. We can see the wetness index, and we can see the NDVI. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a little time lapse. You click on this little video-like looking button over here. Select your window, like that, for example. Click play. And then again, you have to click on the correct time range. 1 image per day. Let's click search. We have to wait for a couple of seconds because it has to load a lot of products and visualize them. Okay. Let's click the speed of 8 and let's run the time lapse. So now you can see how the NDVI of this agriculture parcel changed through the year. It gets pretty interesting here around August, when you can clearly see the difference between the lower and the higher vegetation. You can also download this time lapse if you wanted to. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take a look at how you can actually visualize statistical information for NDVI for this agricultural parcel. And in EO browser, this can be done in 2 ways. And then again, it can also be done as a request to return a JSON file. First, we're going to take a look at how to do this in EO browser. If you want the statistical information to be tied to the colorful information of this layer, then what you need to do, you need to create a new layer. First, I'm going to copy the collection ID from the NDVI. Now, it is important how the name is structured over here. You need to start with 2 underscores, say FIS, and then continue with 1 underscore, and then copy the ID of the layer that you want to create statistics for. In this case, it is called 3 underscore NDVI. Over here, you have to select the bring your own cog, enter the collection ID, and now let's just write some random letters so that it lets save it. Save the layer. Now we will grab the visualization and we will import it in here. But the important thing is that now we don't want a color visualization returned, but we want the NDVI values. So we will just return NDVI. Now I'm going to go to incognito mode because you have to refresh it so that you can see the results. Okay, I am now logged in. Let it load. Let's select the PlanetScope. It's like that. Let's visualize it. And now if we select the NDVI, we can do this for a point, or we can do it for the polygon, which we can upload using the KML, or we can just draw like that, whichever suits you best. And then you can see this little graph over here. This makes it possible for you to see statistics for, let's say, 3 months or 1 year. Now, when this loads, because there is a lot of products, a lot of acquisition dates, this can take a couple of seconds. But here you can see now the progression of NDVI for your agricultural parcel during the year. You can also export this in CSV. Another way to do this is to go to custom script and paste in the same script with which we created the layer. And then you would be again able to see the statistical information, but the visualization, if we refresh this, we have to return the singular value. NDVI, refresh this, then it would work in grayscale. But you can then, just as before, select a polygon and view the statistics. You only need to create that FIS layer if you would like to work tied to a colored layer. Okay, now what we're going to take a look at is how you can retrieve statistical information in a JSON file, which can be useful for additional analysis. I am here in another request builder window, and I went to OGC and I turned on FIS. I already imported the geometry and set the correct time range. What we need to do now is we need to enter our instance ID. We can select it, PlanetScope, and then we have the layers over here. And now for this JSON statistical file, you don't need to have this FIS NDVI, but it has to be the same script. It has to be the script that returns values and not a color visualization, but it could be named anything. This specific name requirement is only for EO browser. But let's select this now, because this is the only one returning simple values. Before we send, you can see the request down there that is going to be sent. And let's send it. Now, this is going to take a couple of seconds. It has to process some 250 products. And there we go. You can see there is a lot of them, all of them. And for each of them, you have the acquisition date. And you have, for NDVI, the minimum NDVI, maximum, mean, and standard deviation. You can then copy this file if you would like and use it for, let's say, machine learning analysis. If you go to our medium area monitoring, you're going to see a lot of blocks that our team did that used exactly this same approach, this same request, and used this JSON file to do area monitoring, machine learning. The last thing we have on our agenda related to making requests is to take a look at the API. So first of all, I would like to say that you can order commercial data using Process API. To learn how to use Process API, take a look at our Process API webinar. Now, the only specific for the commercial data is that you have to select the bring your own cog and enter in your collection ID. And then everything else, you can just follow that webinar to learn how to work with it. Now we are going to move to QGIS, where we are going to take a look at how you can import data with OGC API using Sentinel Hub Plugin. So the OGC webinar goes in detail into how to install it and how to authenticate. You have to enter the client ID and client secret that you can get very easily in dashboard. We're going to link to that part of the webinar in the description. It is very easy. It takes only a minute. When you are authenticated and you click login, you can then start. We're going to select the Pleiades over here. We will be working with WMS, but you could also use WMTS or WFS. And let's see, for example, the NDVI. We have to, the time range is already set to the acquisition date, 26 July of 2019. The important thing you need to take care of is that image priority is never sent to list cloud coverage for commercial data, because bring your own cog does not support it. It has to be most recent or least recent, otherwise you're going to get an error. Well, then you can click create, and this will add a layer here on the left, and you can see the NDVI imported. Let's also import the pan sharpened true color layer, and you can see this one as well. If you go to download, you can then also download TIFF, JPEG, or PNG images to your computer. So working with the plugin is very easy. The last thing we're going to take a look at is the network of resources. So if you're conducting research or pre-commercial exploitation, you can apply to get your Sentinel Hub account and commercial data sponsored. You have to apply to the network of resources, and the network of resources is managed by Cloud.io and European Space Agency. There is a full step-by-step tutorial on our website, which will also be linked, that you can follow. There are 2 general steps. You just follow these links that are in the tutorial. You go to the network of resources page, you log in, and then when you log in, you can then order data. You go in provider, you go under Sentinel Hub VHS, click apply. And now the important thing is that if you want commercial data, you also need to order the subscription package. You need to have both. So you just click it, enter the information that you will be asked on, add it to your cart, and then you will be provided with a button that says request ESA sponsorship. Then the second step that you are going to have to do is send the research proposal to ESA portal. You are going to go to ESA portal. You will click on the second link for a platform service. You're going to log into your EarthNet. It's very easy. And then when you are logged into your EarthNet, you're going to see the page like this, main submission area, where you are simply going to enter all the information that you are asked for, what your research is about, and so on. So take a look at this tutorial to find all the steps that are important. I strongly encourage you to do so, to submit to the network of resources, because it would be a shame if you couldn't conduct your research because you can't afford commercial data. Okay, thank you for joining this webinar. This will be all for today.
Thank you, Munia. Your presentation was really great again. So let's continue with your questions. We will first check those written in the chat during the presentation, and I would just like to remind you that you can still write your questions in the meantime in the chat, or wait after we are done answering those in the chat. We will invite you to unmute yourself, and you will be able to ask. In this case, please turn off your microphone after you're done. Thank you. So the first question is from the chat, refers to requesting and ordering data. If I have a bounding box, will the charges just be based on bounding box? The answer to this one is yes. Then Antonio was asking, what is the delay for obtaining data at time t with the most expensive package? So I will ask my colleague Anya to answer this one.
Oh yeah, hi. Pricing of the package does not really influence the timing. I suppose that the question is really how much time it is between the acquisition of the data until the data is available. So as I said, the pricing doesn't influence that. But maybe I should explain here that there is a fundamental difference between Planet and Airbus data in this respect. So Planet data is they monitor the globe systematically, meaning that there is an acquisition even if no one orders it, and you can access all of this data. While for Airbus, someone needs to specifically order the acquisition somewhere, and then what you can access is actually the archive of this data. So I would say it depends on the data provider.
Thank you, Anya. The next question comes from Yuri, who is asking if there is a date limit. Can you get historic images from before 2017, for example, or will this depend on the Airbus or Planet product?
Yeah, again, that depends on the provider. So Sentinel Hub doesn't set any additional limitations on this. We just provide whatever there is available from the provider. I think that Pleiades data is available from 2011. Spot data, I think, from 2012, and PlanetScope, I think, from 2016.
And the next question, someone was wondering if there is an option to order stereo pair imageries.
Again, I'll try to answer this. So we don't offer any out-of-the-box option where you could just order this kind of products, but we just you can order whichever you want. So meaning if you want a stereo pair over a certain area, you would need to browse through all the products and then select those that you want, and then work with this from there on. So the information about this is given in the response of your search request. So you would basically need to use this information to filter out the results before you order them.
Anya, I think the next question also is for you. Paula is asking, can spot satellites make an image in specific angle?
So I think that spot satellites always acquire the data in the nadir view, but within this SWOT that they acquire the data, it really depends. It depends where from the nadir the data is. So within the SWOT, there are different angles in which the data is acquired. I think that the SWOT length there is, or the incidence angles are between -30 to 30 degrees. Hopefully that that answers the question.
Paula, if this doesn't answer, please just write us in the chat if you need some more explanation. The next one comes from Marek. He's asking, will be there an option for ordering Planet SkySat in the future?
So we do look at different providers, but also in different products for existing providers that we have already included. Specifically for SkySat, we do plan to include, but we did not look into a lot of details yet.
Then we have a little bit longer one. Please, I need a script that displays these images when I upload my boundary. Currently working on developing a dashboard that will display the NDVI when people upload their boundaries.
I would suggest that maybe the person tries to work with request builder, starting there, and then copy the API calls that are automatically generated and use that in the script that they are trying to develop. Not sure if I can go into more detail of this concrete case here, but that would be a general recommendation.
And probably if you get stuck right on the forum.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we monitor forum quite regularly, and it's a really good source, and it usually helps other people with a similar problem. So I encourage everyone to use forum as much as possible.
Thank you. So Vasilius is asking why I don't have the permission to apply search for data even if I've logged in. So you need to have the quota assigned for a specific provider in order to be able to search.
A little bit of a security feature on our side so that people don't abuse the search API. Basically, if you have a trial account, you are not able to search, but if you would want to try it, send us an email and we can enable this for you even without really purchasing the data.
Pato is asking, what about the topographic and atmospheric correction?
We currently, I think for the PlanetScope data, we currently have only top of the atmosphere correction, but we are working on including the surface reflectance data. So that for sure will be available soon. I don't know from the top of my head what is currently the situation with spot data, but we could check that and come back with an answer, unless someone else can jump in here.
Andras is asking, can I download all image bands via the QGIS plugin or only a product of the visualization I select from the menu?
So the product that you get to select from the menu is what you have in your configuration. So if you have a eval script that produces visualization in your configuration, then you will be able to get this. But if you would like, for example, raw bands, then you would need to use the eval script that returns raw bands. In short, the answer would be you can do both. You just need to configure your eval script correctly.
Then Paule is also extending his question regarding the spot angle question. Minus plus 30 degrees, is this enough for our research?
So again, this information comes as a result of your search. So each product will have the incidence angle with it, and then you can use this to filter out those products that are of interest for you. So maybe that now answers the question.
Stefanos was wondering how to download data from a trial account.
So from the trial accounts, in general, you can't search or download the data. You need to get in touch with us first, so that we can configure your accounts. For example, with the promo code that you got in this webinar, if you input this into your dashboard, we will configure your accounts, and then you just use the trial accounts in the same way as Monia showed in the webinar. Here we did prepare demo orders so that you can try things out even if you don't purchase the data. But in this case, as I said before, you just have to still drop us an email so that we enable this on your account.
Raquel is also asking, is it possible to buy tasking data?
No, we don't have that yet, but we are looking into supporting this as well.
If there are any additional questions you would like to ask, you can also unmute yourself at the moment. We can wait for a couple of seconds.
So can you please tell me what is the delay for access to the data if I send the query at time t?
So this was probably the second question that we were addressing.
Yeah, but I cannot hear before because I had some problem with connections.
Yeah, I mentioned that because I actually wanted to clarify whether you were referring to the time delay between the acquisition and when the data is available, or were you wondering about the time delay that is introduced by Sentinel Hub API?
No, by the Sentinel API. So imagine that the data is available and I want to retrieve it. So how much time it's taken to get the data, to get the image?
In general, I would say that should be this time delay should be very small, but it does depend on the order size, right?
So in terms of hours, seconds, minutes?
No, that would be in terms of seconds.
Okay. So it depends on the download speed, I think.
Yeah, so the process would go, you would order something, but then it takes some time that this order is prepared and ingested. So this part depends on the order size. Maybe I was a bit too optimistic. Let's say minutes.
Okay. And after that, I can have the complete information about the image. So also multispectral information about the image, right?
Exactly. And after this ingestion is done, then the data access part is in below the second.
Are these kind of limited only for a certain package, or there are some restriction in more basic versions?
You mean for the data access?
Yeah.
So the data access part then goes in the same way as with any other data that is offered in Sentinel Hub. You are using your requests and processing units from your subscription plan.
Okay, thank you.
Then Paule was stating additional question, what is the area of the raw images, for example, 20 by 20 kilometers using Airbus satellite with 1.5 meter resolution? Primoz, our team member, is answering that this would be approximately 178 square kilometers. Perfect. I think we came to the end. So I would really like to thank you all for being with us today. The recording will be sent to you in the coming days. All the relevant links from today's webinar will be stated in the recording's description, as Monia already mentioned. And we would also like to invite you to follow our social media for more updates, also on future webinars, and check, as suggested, also our forum for additional questions and answers. We hope that we brought the capabilities of the Sentinel Hub services closer to you today. If you don't have a Sentinel Hub account yet, you can apply for a 30-day trial account. You can also purchase one of the subscription packages which fit your needs best. If you are conducting a research or you are in a pre-commercial exploitation phase, don't hesitate to apply for a presented Network of Resources program. Thank you very much for being with us today, and see you the next time. Stay safe.